What's going on, guys? This is TopTierYugioh. I'm AntwanSteele. Today I'm here to bring you another part of the Kozmo guide. And today I want to talk about identifying the problems that Kozmos have, and then, kind of starting to address them and seeing what we can do to improve the deck. So, I'm actually sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been super busy with, school, work. Everything's been keeping me busy, but, I'm here now, so I'm here to make some videos. Hopefully I can be more consistent. I'm really trying to, and I appreciate everybody watching, so... With that being said, let's get into it though. I want to identify the problems that Kozmos have and start to introduce some ways to fix them and kind of get everybody talking about it. I'd rather this be like a discussion, like an open forum. I want to get everybody's ideas out there. So when you watch this video, I don't care if you don't have anything to say or not, or if you have a lot to say, comment it down in the comment section. Let's let everybody talk about it, get all the ideas out there so we can all look at it. I think it'll be beneficial for everybody just to kind of have some more ideas floating around, I don't want this to just be me talking for 15, 20 minutes. Well, it will be, but I also want it to be a discussion with you guys as well. With that being said, I think the first problem that Kozmos have is their consistency. So, right now, there are only 5 cards in the engine. You have Farm Girl, Forerunner, Good Witch, Slip Rider, and Cosmo Town. Now, we also have Emergency Teleport, which is almost always going to be a Farm Girl, so I'm going to count that too and say 18. So, in a 40-card deck, we only have 18 Kozmo cards. And that's not a very amazing number, especially considering that for the deck to work optimally, we need to have a lower-level Kozmo like Good Witch and Farm Girl, or I guess we can also include Emergency Teleport since that's going to be a Farm Girl. And we also need a ship, so we need a Forerunner or a Slip Rider. So let's go over to a calculator and calculate the probabilities of those. So we're using a hypergeometric calculator because that takes into account that each card you draw changes the number of cards in the deck and possibly the number of cards left in your deck that you want to draw. So you have a 40-card deck, and let's say we have 6 ships, and we're going to draw 5 cards. And we want to know the probability of drawing 1. So the probability of us drawing at least one ship is about 58%. 57.7% to be, I guess, more exact. So we also want to draw that with a lower level Kozmo, so like a Farm Girl or a Good Witch or a Telly. So there are 9 of those in the deck. So let's change this to 9 and then calculate that probability. 74.2% if we round up. And so the probability of getting both of those together, which would be an ideal situation that would allow us to play the deck to its fullest potential, you multiply those two together and you get about 42.2%, which is pretty decent if you think about it, because a match is going to be 3 games in some scenarios, and this is more than 2/3 chance of drawing what you need. So in most situations in a match, 2 of those 3 games, more than 2 or 3, maybe all 3, you're going to draw a hand that you can play with. So that's a pretty good way of looking at it. So, especially if you compare it to other rogue decks, this is actually pretty good. So we want to compare it, to the best deck. We want to compare it to Necros. So I have Tyree Tinsley's deck from YCS Dallas. I forgot what place he got exactly, but it was it was top 16. Top 16 at YCS Dallas. So let's look. I guess a pretty ideal hand for them would be a Jew and then Unicorn. It's a pretty standard play. And for that, you need just a Jew, which you have 6 of, and then you also need Unicorn, Bryo, Clausulus, or Kaleidoscope. And Tyree plays 2 Kaleo, and actually you have Preparation of Rights, and you have Reinforcements of the Army. So you have a lot of ways of getting your combo cards. So they also have 6 Jews, so that's going to be 57% as well. So remember that from when we did the ships. So now let's take into account the Unicorns, Bryos, and so on. So you have 3 Unicorns, 2 Bryo, 2 Clausulus, 2 Kaleido. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. And then you add, I've seen some people play only 1 Rhoda. So let's say 1 Rhoda and then 1 Preparation of Rights. So that gives you 11 cards out of your deck to get your combo off. Actually, no, I don't think you don't really want to play prep your first turn or anything. So let's say 10. So we're really lowballing here. So let's say 10. And you have a 78% chance of drawing that. And we're lowballing here. So keep that in mind. So to find a chance of drawing both of them together, or being able to get your standard Jew, Unicorn, maybe a rank 4, and so on, your chance of just getting the most basic of plays is 44.5%. So I guess, a lot of people would say, okay, that's only 2% more. But if you think about it, that's 2 games out of 100. 2 games out of 100 that you could be drawing what you need to play the game. Those could be 2 games that you're winning. 2 games is a match. 1 extra match could be the difference between losing on the bubble or making it to the top cut. That's the difference between making day 2 or driving home a day early. So that makes a huge difference. And so, and then again, we were lowballing too, which is pretty staggering. And then also you have to take into account that each other card that a Necros deck draws is going to give them a whole nother combo that you can do. So if you open Unicorn, Manju, then you can do standard Manju Unicorn play. Cool. Get your search with Herald of the Arclight, so on. Do whatever you want to do. But say you open Unicorn, Manju, and Bryo. Well, now you've got many more plays that you can make. Whereas in Kozmos, if we open up a Farm Girl, a Forerunner, then that's cool. But if we open 2 Farm Girls and a Forerunner, then we can't make any more plays. It doesn't help us at all. Or likewise, if we open a Farm Girl and 2 Forerunners. Or did I already say that? I forgot what I said, but if you open multiples of either of them, then you can't really do anything extra with it because you can only normal summon once, and you can also only use each of Farm Girl or Good Witch's effect to summon once. So multiples really just doesn't help you too much. Well, I guess Emergency Teleport does help some because it's an extra, not normal summon, it's an extra summon. An extra ship usually isn't that good. However, Cosmo Town does fix that problem a little bit, so if you draw too many, you can shuffle them back, maybe draw something new, maybe draw that Emergency Teleport, or that Honest that you're waiting for, so yeah, it helps a little bit, but it doesn't completely solve that problem. And then also, that's another card you have to draw, so you have to take that probability into account. The second problem that I say Cosmos have is that they are too dependent on the normal summon. And so most of our combos are going to start off with summoning Farm Girl or Good Witch. Of course, Emergency Teleport is the exception to that rule as well because it just makes the deck so much better. But most of our combos start by normal summoning, which means, if you don't have like a ship to play around a trap, or, if they bottomless you or Torrential or anything, Mirror Force on your Farm Girl, well, it's kind of hard to do anything else that turn. And that's a huge problem. It also means that, you only have maybe one play on a lot of turns. And now that play can lead to some other options. Like your only play might be summon Farm Girl attack, and that play can lead to maybe search this or that, but at the end of the day, or I guess the beginning of the day, all you can do is summon that Farm Girl on attack. And if that gets stopped, well, you're done. That's it. And also means that even if you do have a ship or some way to play around the traps, Solemn Warning will effectively end your turn, again, unless you have E-Telly. And so that's really tough. That's a tough situation to be in. Again, let's go back to that situation before. Say you only have a Farm Girl and you have to attack to get anything else. If they Valk you, well, too bad. Although Valking a Farm Girl isn't the best play, but if your opponent makes the right read and stops you for a turn, then you probably lose that game. But whatever. So the next problem that they have is that they have a ceiling. Cosmos can only do so much. There's a lack of firepower. And what I mean by that is your end game is usually going to end with a Forerunner. That's, the deck's strongest monster. It's your best way to get over things. And what you could do is, summon a Good Witch to flip something face down, attack over it with Forerunner. You could do that. Or there's always cards like Raigeki that can clear the field and let you attack over stuff. Or, traps. There's lots of things. Lots of ways that you can clear your opponent's board to get your attacks in. But at the end of the day, Forerunner is our biggest monster. It's pretty much the cream of the crop, the best we can do. And when you look at decks like Shadal's, they have like Construct. Our best monster can't get over their best monster. They can summon their best monster a lot more consistently than we can summon ours. And so that leads to a problem to where pretty much every duel against Shadal's, they can just summon a Construct, and that means we have to have either Good Witch, Raigeki, or some traps. Traps that help in the situation. Like if it's already on the board and you draw a Torrential Tribute, well, sorry. But they also have cards like Shekinaga, which has 3,000 defense, which we have no way to get over. So we can't Good Witch that and then, attack over it. And then if you look at Necros, they have Valk. Valk has 2,900 attack. We have problems getting over that. you have to have the out, and if you don't, you probably lose. And then Cleafort, they have Disc, they have Stealth, which have 2800 attack too, but if they have like a Sacrifice or a Skill Drain, then they're in a better situation than we are. We can play around Skill Drain, but not when we're both crashing each other's monsters. Like they're gonna win that game a lot more often than we will. Then another problem that the deck has is we're pretty mediocre going first. And so our best plays revolve around, summoning Farm Girl, attacking, doing some damage, searching, tagging out, all that battle phase shenanigans, but we can't do any of that turn one. We can do absolutely none of that. And so it kind of reminds me of Mermills back in the day. I used to love Mermills. That was one of my favorite decks of all time for sure, but that's aside the point. So Mermills, they had this thing where drawing Megalo and then like your Atlanteans, that would be pretty good. Megalo and Atlanteans is good, like Marksman, Infantry, Megalo, pretty good hand. Pop 2 of your opponent's cards, summon your Megalo, search your Disfigure. That was a solid play. That was a play that ruled the meta, or a couple metas. And the problem with it was, on your first turn, you couldn't pop anything with your Atlanteans. So it made it kind of pointless to summon your Megalo, which meant you weren't doing anything on your first turn. And it's kind of the same now with Farm Girl and Slip Rider. Or, any of them. None of the Kozmo monsters have effects that do you anything on your first turn. Like, Farm Girl can't attack. Forerunner is not going to be targeted on your first turn, and it only gains the life points in your standby phase. Good Witch won't have any monsters to set, and Slip Rider won't have any spell or trap to destroy. So it's, you really can't do much on your first turn. Let's go back to what Mermills did. So they stopped playing the Atlantean Mermills and started playing Mono Mermill, which had Aqua Spirit and Abyss Teus. And that was pretty awesome because you could summon Teus and Aqua Spirit and you could go into your combo, blah, blah, blah. But that would get you a Bahamut Shark, an Abyss Trite, and an Equipped Engineer. So instead of being really aggressive on your first turn, what they did was they switched to building a board their opponent couldn't beat on their first turn. So instead of being really aggressive and offensive, like a Bahamut Shark, Trite, and Engineer isn't a really powerful board. But what it is hard to destroy. Like your Engineer can protect something, your Trite's going to float, and Bahamut Shark has a respectable 2600 attack. So, it's nothing to sneeze at. And so I think a lot of players have to take the same approach with Kozmos. And some people do that with trap tricks, which is one way to, again, stop your bad first turns is to set up a defense. Now, we don't have the means like Mermills did to, Xyz summon 3 times and stuff. We can't do all that. But the trap tricks kind of helps that. So instead of, pretty much doing nothing on your first turn, you can summon a Mermelio, set some traps, and then kind of stop your opponent from going off. And then you can go off on your second turn. And that's what players like Peter Gross did in YCS Rimini, and that's what Joe Bogley did in YCS Toronto. Both of those top 32s? Might have been better, but they at least top 32'd. And Joe Bogley didn't play trap tricks, but he did play traps, so like 10 or 11 or 12, a lot. So, when he's going first, he has those traps to protect him, because he can't do anything with the engine first turn. So what he's going to do is stop his opponent's first turn and then go off after that. And so it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of something I remember Patrick Hoban said a while back. I know he has a lot of haters, but I'm a fan. But he said that he's always building his decks to beat the decks that topped the week before. So he's always adapting and changing his decks. And I think that's kind of what we have to do here. We have to adapt and change the deck. So we have to look at the problems that we have inherently and adapt and change to those to kind of cover our weaknesses. And then, after that, look at our matchups in the meta and try to give us a little bit of an edge against those as well. Let's look at the other drawbacks that Kozmos have and, kind of think of some ways that we can play around those and kind of improve the deck. So we talked about Kozmos having a low ceiling, not being able to get over certain things. And if our ceiling is too low, what we have to do is either raise our ceiling or lower our opponent's ceiling. So what trap tricks do is they lower their opponent's ceiling, or traps or anything. Any kind of defense, it lowers your opponent's ceiling. You want to stop them from playing the game while still allowing yourself to play the game. So things like traps, shared ride, max C's, all do that. And that's what Jeff Jones did when he first started playing Kozmos at like the ARG. Like they played like shared rides, max C's, all that stuff, so they could kind of bring Necros down to play at the same speed as them. No, while albeit they didn't have Trish in the ARG format at the time, so it's a little bit different, but the concept still applies. And our other option was to raise our own ceiling. So what that means is to give yourself more options. right now the deck doesn't have too many in-theme options. There's not many ways to get over a Valk, for example. You have one option in theme. The only way to get over it is you summon Good Witch, flip it face down, summon Forerunner, and attack over it. That is your only option to get over a Valk. What's his defense? 17? Or actually, you could attack over it with Good Witch. But either way, Good Witch is your only out to it. And same with Construct. Construct is the Good Witch and Forerunner. That's your only way to get over it. Because it has 2,500 defense, and Slip Rider only has 23. Good Witch has 18, and Forerunner, being the only out, has 26. But for a lot of things, Good Witch is your only out to it. And so that's why Ghetto is really popular at one time, because it raised your ceiling. It adds attack to all your monsters. So instead of Good Witch being the only way to get over a Valk, now you could have Ghetto and Slip Rider, or Honest. Honest is the same thing. It gets your monsters over those things you normally couldn't. That's what some hybrids do, like the Cyber Dragon build. That build, it gives you Cyber Network, so you can... I forgot exactly what it does, but it has some ridiculous effect where you can summon a bunch of machine monsters, but it gives you a way to summon a lot. Let's get some Z summons in. What does this do? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so you banish machines from your deck, and well, yeah, when it's sent to the graveyard, and you can actually destroy it with a Slip Rider, but when it's sent to the graveyard, summon as many banished light machine monsters as possible. So that's pretty ridiculous, and it destroys all your spell and traps you control, including your Kozmo Town, which gets you another search. So Cyber Network gives you a huge play that you can make. So that adds to the options. It gives you access to your extra deck, things like that. So Cyber Dragon build, it's pretty popular for a while. Then you have the Shaddoll build, which has had some success on the regional circuit. I've seen some people doing well with it, and at first I didn't like it, but after playing it, it's pretty fun. So what that does is, instead of, summoning a bunch of monsters like the Cyber Dragon build, what you can do is summon like a Construct and attack over your opponent's monsters, and then attack directly your Farm Girl, or your Forerunner, or whatever you want. So you pretty much use the Shaddoll engine to kind of last you and whittle your opponent down until you can get your Kozmo engine going, and it works. It works pretty decently well. And then the other problem we had is with normal summons. Now, this is a little bit harder to combat, just because part of our engine is normal summoning monsters. We don't have any in-engine ways to summon except for emergency teleport, which is constantly just like the way around these rules, but it's just too good not to play. I think I already said that, but it's just so good. But so we have to pretty much normal summon all of our monsters, and I guess the only way to kind of protect that is to special summon more. So you might normal summon one monster, and they play Solemn Warning. Oops. Well, now what you can do is play E-Telly and summon something else, or play your Shaddoll Fusion and summon a Construct, like something to give you more plays after your opponent's first response. Farm Girl went up to $64. Glad I have mine. Whew. But another option you could do is you can make it harder for your opponents to stop your plays. And so that's something that we can do when we have more Kozmo monsters. To be a higher chance of being able to draw a low level, and then if your opponent responds, you could summon a higher level, and then that'll float, and then so on. You get the whole engine going. So we'll have more chance with that once we get more cards. But then also you could play things like MST to destroy traps, or Forbidden Lance. It won't stop a warning, but it'll stop like a Bottomless or something. And then finally, consistency. So there are two ways to increase consistency. You can either add Kozmo cards to the deck. So right now we have 18 out of 40 cards that will, that are Kozmo cards. So it'd be more consistent if we had maybe 20, 25 cards even. That'd be cool. So if we had a larger engine, we wouldn't have so many cards that don't help us. Or the other option would be to take out cards from the deck. So instead of having 40 cards in the deck, maybe 37 with upstarts, or 34 with chicken games, or less if you play Terraforming. Trap Fix Myrmilio, it thins the deck out, searches a trap. So all of those things, they make the deck slightly more consistent, and that gives you a higher chance of drawing what you need, being able to have playable hands. Because the good thing about Kozmos is, when you do open well, like when you open Farm Girl and Forerunner, you can play with the most decks. Like you can go head to head with them. Versus when you don't, when you open bad hands like a bunch of low levels, there's not really much you can do, or multiple ships, you can't really even play the game. So that 42% from earlier is your chance of being able to play the game effectively. While it's better going second because it gives you one more card, but on the low end of the stick, this is your chance of being able to play. And when you can play, you can go head to head with anything, I think. Like, this deck Kozmos have a lot of potential. So, I mean, we want to be as most consistent as possible. It will mean the world. And another possibility, actually, when we do have more cards, is Kozmo Town's ability to reshuffle, to give us that mulligan. Like, while it doesn't increase the probability of drawing the cards we need, like taking cards out or adding in Kozmo cards, what it does do is it gives us another sample. So we might draw 5 cards, but it's not exactly what we need. We might be missing that E-Telly, that Honest, or something else that we want. Having more Kozmo cards in the deck will allow us to shuffle them back into the deck, and then not raise the probability of drawing what we want, but it just gives us another chance to draw what we want. So that's nice. That's going to be really nice when we get more cards. I mean, I think it's a really fantastic card design just to make it so. And the more Kozmo cards we play, the more effective they are. And the same, like the more Kozmo cards we have, the more things we could search off of our Forerunners, our Slip Riders, the more things to summon with our Farm Girl and our Good Witch. So when we get more cards, the deck will be a lot better for sure. But for what we have right now, like there are a lot of ways we can improve, and I'd really like to have a discussion about that with everyone that watches this video. I want us all to kind of work together and see what we can come up with. And also, they did announce, we do know 3 new Kozmo cards. Only one of their effects has been confirmed completely, and that's Kozmo Wicked Witch. And I'll talk about that later. But then we also have Dark Destroyer, not Dank Destroyer. We have Kozmo Dark Destroyer, which is another ship. It's level 8, but it's gonna float. But there are 2 conflicting effects. So I've seen some saying it's gonna float summon level 3 or lower, and some are saying it'll summon level 7 or lower. And I think the level 7 or lower part would make more sense. It'd be more in line with all the other ships. But, I mean, that'd be really good. Whereas level 3 or lower would be slightly more balanced. And so, I'll talk about that later. And then there's Kozmo Light Sword, or Lightsaber. Actually, the word lightsaber might be trademarked, so it might not be that. So, I think Kozmo Light Sword might make sense more so, if Konami wants to avoid a lawsuit. So, that effect hasn't been revealed, so I'm not too sure about that. It's no equip card, and, equip cards aren't too good, but, we'll see about that when it's confirmed. But, again, like I was saying, I want you guys to comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know how, just give me your thoughts. Even if you don't have anything to say what's up, say what you liked, what you didn't like, whatever. Just say something. I'd greatly appreciate it. If there's anything you guys want to see, deck profiles of anything, especially Kozmos, I could put it up, quickly. I have all the Kozmos stuff, so I can make a profile for that anytime. So, just let me know. I want to be more involved with you guys and everything. I'm almost at 100 subscribers, which isn't a lot compared to a lot of people, but it's a lot to me, more than I ever thought I would make. So, that's awesome. So, thanks everybody for watching, and, I appreciate it. Please check out the other videos if you get the chance, and I'll talk to you guys later, probably in the comments section. So, take care, everybody.